welcome you all to this episode of Startup Stories. My name is Gunashekharan. I'm a startup coach and the author of the book Startup Recipe. In this series of startup stories, we have a lot of entrepreneurs coming to our show and sharing their journey and the insights from their own entrepreneurship experience. Likewise, we have a special person today, one of my good friend, Preeti Muzumdar from Mumbai. And she started her career with ICICI. She worked for 8 years as a business development manager. And then she quit that job and she started home-based bakery business, which she ran for 2 years. And then she started her own retail bakery store. And right now she is running that for more than 8 years successfully. And she also started her coaching business recently. And she is the author of the upcoming book, Golden Eggs in Your Nest. So we have Preeti Muzumdar. Thank you, Preeti, for joining us in this episode of Startup Stories.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Guna, for having me for this wonderful interactive session with you. And thank you to all the viewers who are watching. It is an honor for me to be interviewed by Guna. I really call him my wingman, somebody who has always been part of my team in TLC as well as in my coaching journey, a real inspiration. So thank you, Guna, for having me.
Thank you, Preeti. And 8 years into corporate and that to a brand like ICICI. And what made you to think about coming out? Because I can see that if you would have continued, there is a huge scope of going to the next level and the career growth would have been exponential. That's what I can see. But still, you chose to come out of it and start something on your own. So what made you to take the decision of starting something on your own?
Yeah, I often wonder, the same things that you spoke about, Guna, that what if I had continued in the corporate world and how would have it been different and what position would I have held, how much money I would have made? All those questions do pop up in my head. But honestly, I don't regret a day for taking that decision. I remember one of my senior managers, he called me on the day I quit my job and he said, you know what, Preeti, I know you too well. You're a workaholic and you're from corporate. I doubt you're going to stay at home and you're going to run back the first opportunity you get. So the reason I quit my corporate job was very circumstantial because my daughter was born and, I was wanting to have a child for a very long time. So after she was born, I really wanted to cherish that time with her. So I actually thought I'll take a sabbatical for a year or two and spend all the time with her and then probably decide what I want to do in my life. But while I was, at home and in sabbatical, I really came to know something about myself. It was more like a self-discovery that deep within, I want that entrepreneurial freedom. I want to do something on my own. I want to explore the creative side in me. Not that I really detested the corporate world. The corporate world was very exciting. 8 years working with great leaders, lots of learning. It has been really fabulous. But that 2 years changed my life. It's like before, my daughter was born and after my daughter was born. So my daughter actually is my inspiration to start my entrepreneurial journey. I started baking for her. I started doing a lot of things for her. And then I realized that I'm over investing my energy in her. She doesn't really need it. Having a busy job to being a stay-at-home mom is very difficult. It's not easy to manage your time and to manage your boredom. And you end up becoming too indulgent with your children. And as a parent, being an overindulgent parent wasn't really working for me. So I said, okay, let me do something that is creative and, keep me motivated. And then I realized, I'm really good at this. Why not start something? So I started baking for my friends, my neighbors as a hobby. Then I started getting orders and then I said that, okay, let me start training in baking. So initially I did a little bit of training. I had a few students who were there. Eventually realized that now the business has grown to a point where I need to have a commercial unit. So me and my husband decided that we'll put up a retail unit and he encouraged me to start this. And so I moved into that. So to answer your question in a small gist is basically it's just a journey within myself to realize that I have the skills and I should probably take the leap of faith. You never know whether you're going to succeed or not, but might as well try. And it was worth the risk, I would say. That was the motivation for that decision.
Super. Thank you, Preeti, for sharing that. A lot of entrepreneurs always tell this, no? When we ask, I never thought I have so much inside me until I started something, until I started working on something. And I think that is the story which we also hear from you. And it is not easy to do something from home, new business. And way back like 10 years before, home-based bakery business is not something which is quite common. Like now people are doing it as an hobby, but way back, it is not something which is very easy to do it. And you don't get raw materials as you get, or you don't have these machineries which we have very sophisticated right now. But what are the different challenges which you had as a home baker for those 2 years, and or even as a retail store you started? What were the different challenges you had initially in your business, and how did you overcome that?
Yeah, so yeah, it is quite challenging actually running a business from home. The first and most important thing is my daughter used to read this book called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So somewhere she might have wished that my home should become a chocolate factory, and it became one, you know. And
Okay.
trust me, there was chocolate everywhere. So initially people were quite patient with the fact that, you know, there is a lot of equipment that I was buying for my business, and there was a lot of chocolate everywhere. So it's a mess, you know. At least when you're working, it's like your living room is also becoming a kitchen.
Obvious,
And
obvious.
yeah, so that challenge was there. And then you know, time, because you have responsibilities at home, you have responsibilities towards your people at home, the household work, plus you have to keep up with the commitment of your clients. And initially you are not that skilled that your time taken to complete something as a project will be as much as it's today. So today I can probably make a cake in half an hour or 1 hour, but then used to take me 3 hours, 4 hours.
Right.
And one of the biggest mistakes I made, Guna, which I want to share with everybody here, is that I actually started this as a hobby. So I would be very reluctant to spend on learning. Okay.
Okay.
I would do these odd courses here and there and just invest into small 2-day courses, workshops, and all that. And I felt, oh, I am skilled and I can probably go to YouTube and learn and all that. There came a point when I realized that this is not going to work. If I'm opening a commercial unit or I'm becoming a home baker, it is very, very important that people see me as an authority, and they understand that I know the subject well. So that's when I decided that I will join a proper formal course. So after
Okay.
my daughter started schooling, I joined college.
Okay.
So I upskilled myself. 1 year I did a bakery course, and I was very lucky that I got some amazing trainers there. Even today, I am connected to them. And
Okay.
I learned the science of baking. You know, the way it is, it's not just about commercial business bakery, but understanding what is the science of baking. And of course, the learning as a individual who worked in ICICI, you know, I had leadership skills, marketing skills, and all of that. So it combined well. So the business skills and the skills required for the baking business. So my recommendation to everybody is that if you're starting a new business, one of the first things that you need to bear in mind is that you need to upskill yourself. Do not compromise on investing money to learn more. Okay. And there are various opportunities that you need to select what is the right thing for you. Don't be hesitant to invest that money into the learning. It's a continuous process. So that was my first mistake. And the second mistake probably I did was that I did not have a team. Okay. Most
Okay.
people who think that, you know, working from home, you work alone, because you can't have people walking into your house and
Correct.
actually helping you out, because there's limited space and you don't really want to encourage into other people's. But what I realized is you can have a team outside of your home. So appointing a good vendor, or having a delivery person, or outsourcing some bits of your work to somebody else who's doing it outside. And that way, or even hiring an assistant who can come and help you clean up, or, you know, make things handy for you. That really helps. So do not think that you're a solopreneur if you're a homepreneur. Okay, that's a mistake that I made. And I think early on you should invest, and especially women, okay, they should always have an assistant, whichever business they are in, because you are wearing many hats. And yeah, even men do need assistance, but women need more, because they also take on the additional responsibility of the household. Okay, you're making list for grocery, you're making list for you know, festivals and what you need to do, you're making list for who relatives you need to meet. The list is endless. You're lucky if you have a very good spouse and a partnership at home with, you know, shared responsibilities. But you eventually, in an Indian setup, a woman has more responsibilities of the household. So I always recommend that you hire an assistant. You know, make sure that your house help is volunteering to help you out, and don't be hesitant to pay them. Don't think that you're making very little money, how much am I going to pay them? In the beginning, it's all an investment. For the first couple of years, be willing to make little profits, but invest in good people, in good processes, in good skills. Thereby you lay the foundation to grow bigger. So you know, these were some of the mistakes I made. Again, you know, having a lot of sleepless nights, and I think you will relate to that most as an entrepreneur.
Definitely.
When when you have an idea in your head, it's like you can't just sleep. So my suggestion is again there, make extensive notes, have a handy diary, because thoughts and ideas can disappear like this. Okay, so make sure that you are noting them down. Those ideas which I got at that stage of my business, even today they work for me brilliantly. Okay, and the fourth thing that I advise people is that you have 2 or 3 people who can help you out. Okay, so I had a very close knit circle of people who trusted me even at that stage. They were like my first 5 or 10 customers, where they would, just because it's Preeti, we know Preeti is committed to quality, so whatever she does, they didn't know me as a baker, they knew me as somebody who worked with them in First Source or IC7 Source, and they still relied on me to make their cakes because they knew who I was. So invest in networking and being a person who walks the talk so that they can trust anything that you do. It's not just in this business or that business, but as a human being, when you build that credibility for yourself, it goes a long way. So again, in the beginning, I was hesitant to ask people, would you order a cake from me? What if this person says no? So don't hesitate, advertise about your business, be very clear about something new that you have started, venture out, speak to people, network. So it was a slow learning process, but I think I've kind of mastered it with it cumulatively. Now, if I look at it for 10 years, it's quite a journey that has been.
Superb, superb. I think that is a lot of nuggets which you just shared. I have one question for people who want to start a business. On both sides, like one person want to start and how to actually get that full support from the family member, how to get it from them. That is my one question. On the other side, how do you give support to your family member who is actually starting a business, whether it is home based or whether it is something else? And when you are starting up with something, it is not easy. So in both ways, how do you get your family support? How do you give your support to your family member who is starting? So what do you think will be, from your experience, what will be your point on this?
Yeah. So my suggestion is that anytime that you decide to start your business from home, your family, including your children, your parents, your spouse, your in-laws, everybody should be part of that project in a way that they are also the people who are contributing to your success. So keep them in the loop. Communicate to them very clearly how it is going to change the scheme of things in the way your house is being run. So if you are a housewife, say for example, you have been committed to serving everybody else in the house. You've never thought of investing time or money into your own business. Now, when you start doing that, they're going to start missing you. Okay, so set expectations. Okay, every day for 2 hours between 4 and 6, I'm not going to be available because I need to be part of the business. So, and that is very, very important. And draw up a plan. Okay, draw up a plan and share your responsibilities with all your family members. The amazing thing is, Guna, the day I started working, my daughter became more independent. Her dependency on me reduced. And today I find that though I'm around and she'd want me, if I'm not around, world doesn't stop for her.
Right.
So it's actually, a blessing in disguise that you are there, but you are also telling them that I also need to be here because this is something that I want to do for myself or for the family. Sometimes it's a financial requirement. Sometimes it's a pure joy of doing something. So you're contributing in whichever way. Okay. So if you are the entrepreneur and starting it, plan, communicate, plan. I can't stress on this enough because if you are planned well, then you don't have any last minute emergency situations at home. Don't get up in the morning and think, aaj kya breakfast mein banana hai. It's a big task. Ask people what they want to eat, draw up a menu, put it on your fridge so everybody knows what's coming up for breakfast.
Exactly.
It might seem like a very small task, but trust me, for a woman, it is quite a challenge to plan these things.
And you also know what to buy for the next 1 week.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you are drawing up your grocery list to that. You're communicating to your house help on what needs to be done the previous day for it. So all these things. So planning is a big one. Sharing what the responsibilities are with everybody is a big one. Communicating constantly. Okay, telling them, okay, I'm on a Zoom call now. I would appreciate if you do not disturb me, but also giving them dedicated time. So plan on a day, on a timing of a day where you're not going to attend customer calls, you're not going to think about your business and purely engage with them in probably doing a group community activity, like a family activity, like watching television or playing games or just sitting and chatting about how their day has been. Okay, so decide a cutoff time before beyond which you're not going to bring your business back into your home. Okay, and that discipline or that boundary, either ways, okay, it works. So if you have defined your boundaries about what is the time that you want to spend for work, make sure that they do not interfere there. And when you are with them, let work not interfere. Because trust me, that's one of the biggest challenges for all entrepreneurs. You know,
Right.
up here, back of
Absolutely.
our mind, we are constantly, when we are working, we are thinking, oh my God, I had to go get that thing for her studies. And when we are actually sitting with our child, we are thinking, oh my God, I forgot to return that call to that client. So you're not
Right.
really, at peace. What you're doing is actually putting yourself through a lot of trauma. Okay, so that's answering the bit about if you are an entrepreneur. But if you are a family member to an entrepreneur, how you can support is encourage them. I had a very encouraging family, whether it is my in-laws or my parents, my father, he truly, and I always tell this to everybody that as a parent, keep telling your children, you are special, you are magical. Okay. That what you do to your kid, nobody else can do it. Like my father always told me, Preeti, you have magic in your hands. Anything you touch will turn to gold. That belief tells me today that nothing can go wrong with me as long as I have that. My creator has thought about it that way. That's the best gift that I have. So I always tell people, as a parent, keep telling your children that you are unique, you are going to be very successful, you're a superstar. Keep encouraging them for it. Secondly, extend a lending hand. Okay, wherever you can, as a spouse, as a family member, see how you can help out the person who's taking on. So share the responsibilities, like I said. And the third thing is also be a good critic. Okay, when you become a solopreneur, what happens is that you don't have anybody who will actually look at your numbers and ask you questions. You know within how much profit you're making. Okay, and sometimes you're very shy about the fact that you're not really doing that well. You know one task which you have been procrastinating as an entrepreneur. But if you're very transparent with one family member, either your spouse or your parent or your brother or somebody, that person can become a very good mentor to you. So he can critically give you feedback about what you're not doing right. Like I'm not really great with technology and numbers. So I have my husband who always tells me, you need to check here, this is the leaky bucket.
Okay.
Are you focusing on this bit? So having that different perspective from the person, it really helps. And another very key thing to remember is if you are involving your spouse or your family member into your business, stop talking shop once you reach home. Okay, we had that problem initially because me and my husband, we give us a project and we'll keep talking about it. So when the business started, initially both of us were working together for a couple of years, and 24/7 we are only discussing business ideas. And then
Right.
we realized, I think this is becoming too much. I think we need to stop this. So luckily he got out of it and he got a bigger project. So we got out of that situation. But yeah, drawing the boundaries, being open and sharing, taking communication, giving back in terms of also appreciating members of the family when they support you. There are very few instances you will get. If your child has managed to do something on their own because you're not there, come back and tell your child that I'm really proud of you. That today I wasn't there, but you still managed to do this thing for yourself. And I really think that you're doing great. So, this is basically, I think, basics if you ask me. But yeah, sometimes you need to come out in the open and say it loud.
Definitely, because these things will help. Like if somebody can just create this culture, whether they have it or not, from then on, if this culture can be created, if not this, they can create their own culture, which will be supportive for
Correct.
their business as well as family. And because it depends on each business, depends on whether you're a nuclear family, whether you're a big family, or it depends on various factors. I think this will definitely help somebody who is actually starting something from scratch on their own, especially right now where we are having corporate employees working from home, business owners working from
Yeah,
home, and then it is even more needed right now is what I can actually
very
say
true.
about this. And you gave us a lot of nuggets from your own experience in the last 10 years. If we have to tell one specific tip or an advice to an aspiring entrepreneur or somebody who just started a business, so what would that be? So what you will tell to them?
I think do not be afraid of making mistakes. Okay, there is no right or wrong. Everybody's got their own journey. Make huge mistakes. Okay, the bigger the mistake, the bigger the learning. That is how I have learned. and trust your instinct, because people will always give you advice. So take the advice, think about it, whether it is a good advice, whether it will work for you. Do not get worried about people's judgments, or kya hoga ya kaise hoga. Be applying, always apply common sense and practicality to your decisions. Okay, when I say make mistakes, doesn't mean that you make stupid mistakes. You make mistakes because you experiment and you want to innovate. But at the back of your mind, make sure that you are having a common sense approach to the entire thing. Fear should not be the reason for you to stop from doing anything. There could be other reasons, like, okay, this doesn't seem like a very wise thing to do right now, or I'm being over ambitious here, or I do not have the skill set for it, or something, some reason like that is a different story. But in your business, be never afraid to explore new opportunities. Even if it fails, there's always going to be a lot of learnings for you. Okay, you're going to learn a lot of things. So I know, Guna, we are part of this fantastic community called TLC over there, and our Guru Muli always says that make your mess, let that mess become a message for everybody.
Exactly.
I'm telling you, when I've joined the community today, I'm starting to realize that I wish I had joined 10 years back. Today, my baking business also would have benefited a lot more. I could have realized, that I have a lot more potential to get a mentor to guide me, to help me at every step. And whether it is my baking business or my coaching business right now, or me authoring a book or being part of this community, one thing that has always kept me going is having the trust and faith from people around me. So my vibe and my tribe, that's something I totally believe in. And also that not fearing to make mistakes and admitting if you've made a mistake and learning from it and moving forward. So this has been the one thing that has really worked for me.
Super. Thank you, Preeti. And the reason why I started the Startup Story series itself is in way back in 2017, I decided that I have to create 10,000 entrepreneurs by 2030, and then I started various initiatives. But I always get inspiration from real entrepreneurs, interviews, videos, when I talk to them personally, etc. And that is the reason why I started this, and we had so many entrepreneurs. So thank you for being a part of this and sharing your journey. And you gave a lot of insights, especially for women who want to start something on their own. I think they can take a lot more from this particular interview. And so thank you for being here. Thank you for joining for this Startup Stories episode.
Thank you so much, Guna, for the opportunity. I really feel happy, and I hope people will learn from this. So go ahead and start your business. Connect with Guna, and he'll help you also to start your business from home or whether it is outside. All the best to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for watching this video. So make sure to share this so that all the startups and aspiring entrepreneurs outside will get benefited. I'll see you in my next episode of Startup Stories with one another entrepreneur with their insights from their experience. See you. Thank you. And the next episode is coming soon. Thank you.